Max Verstappen could be joining Mercedes for the 2025 season. Yes, that is right. There is hot rumor right now that Max Verstappen could be joining the Mercedes team, replacing Lewis Hamilton for the 2025 season. In fact, people have been saying that he is the hottest pick to take that seat and is the front runner at the moment. But why would Max Verstappen move? He's currently driving for a very dominant car in Red Bull, and Mercedes, let's be honest, is kind of in that middle of that chasing pack, trying to hunt down Red Bull Racing. So why on earth would he move? Well, there's a lot of controversy going on at the moment with Red Bull, and in particular with Christian Horner, which is causing, according to Jos Verstappen, which is of course Max Verstappen's father, a lot of division within the team. Now, Max Verstappen does have a contract with Red Bull Racing till 2028. But as we know, with most contracts in sport and Formula One, there's going to be release clauses and there's going to be exceptions in which these people are allowed to leave their current deals. One of them in particular is that if Helmut Marko leaves the Red Bull team, Max Verstappen is then free to leave. Like I said, there's a lot of rumor going around and there's a lot of controversy going around with Red Bull. So let's lay out the different situations in which potentially this Red Bull team could crumble and allow Max Verstappen to make that move to the Mercedes team. First of all, Christian Horner. He is at the center of all these allegations and investigations. Now, he has been cleared in the investigations, but there is still a lot of talk in the paddock going on around this situation. And if Christian Horner were to be removed from that lead Red Bull Racing role, or in fact resign, then that leaves an opening for somebody else. Most likely candidate to replace Christian Horner would probably be Jonathan Wheatley, but if Christian Horner were to leave, what would that mean for Adrian Newey? It's been kind of like an open secret that Adrian Newey's contract is kind of tied to Christian Horner's, just like we saw with Max Verstappen and Helmut Marko. If one leaves, the other is free to leave as well. Newey has always said that he would love to build a Ferrari car. He's also said that he would love to build a Lewis Hamilton car and a Fernando Alonso car. With Hamilton moving to Ferrari, that could open the door for Adrian Newey to then go over there and fulfill one of his goals in Formula One. So with Adrian Newey leaving, that's a massive key figure that has been taken away from Red Bull Racing. Helmut Marko could also be on the way out. So Max Verstappen could be looking at that Red Bull Racing team and say, yes, we are dominant at the moment, but everything is starting to crumble around us, and potentially this is not a seat where I can win championships in the future. I might be able to win the championship in 2025, but when the new engine regulations come in 2026, would Red Bull Racing be ready to put him in a position once again to be right up at the front, dominating, or at least fighting for the championship? We've also got to talk about Ford and their situation in this controversy as well. They have been putting pressure on Red Bull Racing to get things sorted as soon as possible because they don't want to look bad as well. For the worst case scenario, Ford step away from Red Bull Racing. Again, that is another key figure moving away from the team, and it doesn't really show to a driver that there is potential future there, and that's something that we can build on from what we already have and carry on to dominate. Now, let's say Christian Horner stays. There is already a divide that has been said amongst the team. It's kind of clear to see that Christian Horner and Jos Verstappen aren't getting along at the moment. And Max Verstappen has always backed his father in everything that they've done together. So if Jos wants him to leave, it's most likely that Max Verstappen could potentially leave, especially if Helmut Marko wants to go as well. But why Mercedes? Mercedes are a, upper midfield car. They're in that chasing pack. They're not quite dominating, they're not quite there ready to fight for race wins, but they're a decent team. But it's definitely right to say that it would be not even a sideways switch to Mercedes, but at the moment, a massive downgrade. However, I'm going to throw it all the way back to the 2012 season, when Lewis Hamilton announced that he was leaving McLaren, which weren't a dominating car, so it's a different situation, but kind of similar, so just bear with me. But McLaren were fighting for race wins at least. who had won their first race at the 2012 Chinese Grand Prix, but were not a team that you would look at and say, yes, that is a team that is going to dominate in the future. Lewis left McLaren because he could see they were on a downward spiral and went over to Mercedes. Took that hit for the first season, and in all fairness, in the 2013 season, Mercedes were the second best team, maybe kind of similar to Lotus in that sense. Both teams were fighting for that second best team of the season, but were not the dominating factor that Red Bull Racing were still. However, in 2014, they got it spot on and were able to dominate through 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and got run right up till the end. So that's a long time of domination from just one move to what looked like going from one of the top teams to a midfield runner. Seemed to work out very well for Lewis Hamilton. And there was one thing in particular that changed between the 2013 and 2014 season, and that was the engine regulations, going away from the V8s to the V6 power units that we have today. Now, what's happening in 2026? Well, we are having some brand new spanking engine regulations. So who is the team that got it right last time? Mercedes. Mercedes absolutely wiped the floor with every engine manufacturer in the 2014 season. So Max Verstappen is obviously going to take that on board. He's going to be looking at that, and Toto Wolff is going to be really, showing him that, look, we've done this before. We've been able to produce a top-end engine that allowed us to dominate, whilst also putting together a really solid aerodynamic package to go along with it. And as a racing driver or a manager of a racing driver, if you're not talking to every team in the paddock, then you're probably not doing your job properly, because you want to hear from all these different teams of what their future projections are and where they're going to be going in the upcoming years. Now, we know Red Bull Racing, if they carry on this trajectory, they're going to be a very solid team in 2025. They're going to probably be dominating the sport once again. And for Max Verstappen, it's a guaranteed 5th championship for him. Wow, 5 championships already. That is incredible to think of. But he's pretty much got it wrapped up already, if we think about it in that sense. So he would take away winning that championship to go to Mercedes, but there is the possibility of winning 2026, 2027, 2028 and dominating like Mercedes did back in 2014. However, it's a huge risk. You're never guaranteed to get it right, but with a lot of the stuff that's going on at Red Bull at the moment, if they see that as the whole structure crumbling and unable to be revived, it may be a sinking ship that they want to jump away with as soon as possible. So let's say Max Verstappen did go to Mercedes. He signed for Mercedes for 2025, one of the silliest seasons we are getting in Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, Max Verstappen to Mercedes. Who's going to Red Bull? Well, for me, I'm banging this drum. It would be Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso would be like, get me in that seat for 2025. There's no Max Verstappen. It's just Sergio Perez. If Sergio Perez stays there, everybody's going to be wanting that seat, because as I've said, 2025 should still be a very strong year for Red Bull Racing, despite everything that is currently going on. They've already got the foundations, they can build upon that, and will still be a very strong team in 2025. So if you want to win a championship, that is almost a guaranteed season to give yourself a championship fight. And Fernando Alonso is going to be itching to get that seat, to get that 3rd championship that he has desired for so many years. And Red Bull Racing in 2025 could give it to him. So if these stars align, this could be the craziest silly season we have ever seen. What do you think? Do you think it could happen? I'm putting this at a 5. It could go. I'm sitting on the fence. Yes, I know. It could go one way. It could go the other. I do think that Max Verstappen would be silly to move away from a dominating team whilst it's still dominating, unless he thinks the ship is sinking, in which case it could be the right move to jump away. Only time will tell. We're gonna have to find out, but let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Will Max Verstappen join Mercedes in 2025, or is this the silliest rumor you have ever heard? Make sure you subscribe to the WTF1 channel, and I'll see you on the next one.